Ever look at some businesses and just wonder, how do they always seem to make the right call? Navigating this really complex market, spotting opportunities, staying ahead. Well, today we're sort of pulling back the curtain on a strategy that helps them do just that. It's about gaining a serious competitive edge. Our mission for this deep dive, it's really to unpack the synergy between two foundational strategic tools, SWOT and PESTEL analysis. We're using insights from Aparna Dutta's article, How Businesses Can Use Both SWOT and PESTEL Analysis to Profit. And this isn't just about defining them. It's about how putting them together gives this incredibly comprehensive view, like almost X-ray vision for spotting opportunities, driving real innovation, and seriously strengthening that competitive advantage. Because, let's be honest, in today's world, a great idea. Well, it's just not enough. You need clear vision. You need a robust strategy. The article calls these analyses two sides of the same coin. And for good reason. They're absolutely essential for really evaluating any new project thoroughly, systematically, especially the bold ones.
Exactly. And that's why this is so critical for you listening in. Whether you're, launching something new, managing a team, or just trying to figure out the strategic game, it's not just about knowing your own business, not just inside and out. It's about understanding the whole world it operates in. Dutta's article really highlights how the internal stuff and the external environment are, well, they're completely linked. And understanding that connection, that's the key to initiatives that are actually viable and profitable.
Okay, so let's break it down. First piece of the puzzle, SWOT analysis. So this framework helps businesses build effective strategies, right? By looking at internal strengths and weaknesses, and also the external opportunities and threats. Think of it like your own business's internal report card, a really insightful one.
Precisely. SWOT really zooms in on the internal side. It gives you deep insight into your company's positioning from within. It forces you to assess your assets, what you're actually good at, and just as importantly, where those internal risks or weaknesses might lie. It's that foundational self-check.
Right, the internal report card.
Yeah.
But like you said, no business operates in a bubble. What about all those huge forces pushing from the outside, the things shaping the landscape? That's where PESTEL comes in. If SWOT is the internal report, PESTEL is like the global weather forecast, looking specifically at political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal factors. The big stuff. It really makes you consider those big picture forces, the ones outside your control, but that have a huge impact.
Absolutely. PESTEL maps out that broader external context. It gives businesses a much clearer picture of the environment they're swimming in, which is vital for understanding the market now and, maybe more importantly, anticipating what's coming next. It's seeing the whole forest. But PESTEL doesn't do on its own is tell you exactly how those big forces connect with your specific internal situation, your unique strengths and weaknesses.
Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting, isn't it? Because while they're both strong tools on their own, the article really hammers home that their true power comes when you use them together. It's not just doing two lists, it's about integrating them, getting that holistic understanding of potential threats and emerging opportunities.
Exactly. The synergy is where the magic happens. So SWOT tells you what you've got internally, your strengths, your weaknesses. PESTEL paints that external picture, the opportunities, the threats out there. When you combine them, suddenly you see connections. Like maybe a new tech trend PESTEL flags up. It could suddenly turbocharge an internal strength from your SWOT that you hadn't fully appreciated. Boom, huge opportunity. Or maybe an economic downturn flagged by PESTEL makes a minor internal weakness suddenly critical, a real vulnerability. It's about seeing those ripples before they become waves.
And the practical use for any business thinking about something new, it's massive. The article points out they're especially helpful when assessing the viability and profitability of new initiatives.
Right.
They guide those really tough calls. Do we invest here? Or maybe shift those resources somewhere else that looks more promising now? This combined view, it really builds the foundation for strategic success. So let's make it concrete. Imagine a hypothetical company, say Eco-Innovate. They're trying to launch sustainable packaging. How would this combo help their R&D?
Oh, perfect example. Okay, Eco innovates R&D. SWOT might show, say, internal strengths in material science. Great, but maybe a weakness in production capacity. Then, PESTEL brings in the outside world. What's happening? Growing demand for zero waste, stricter green regulations, new biodegradable tech breakthroughs. By combining these, Eco Innovate sees, okay, our science strength perfectly matches this zero waste trend. Big opportunity. Or they might see that new regulation is great, but our production weakness means we just can't meet that demand right now. See, without PESTEL, their R&D might chase something with no market. Without SWOT, they might chase a trend they simply can't deliver on.
That makes total sense. Connecting what you can do with what the world needs or is demanding. What about another common challenge, like navigating regulatory changes? How does the combined approach help there?
Another great point. Regulatory changes, yeah. When you integrate SWOT and PESTEL, a company like Eco-Innovate can assess complex things like new recycling rules or subsidies for green manufacturing way more accurately. It helps them spot and really leverage new opportunities that pop up because of those changes, especially in regulated sectors like packaging. Here's the key insight often missed. PESTEL tells you the trend, like the new regulation. But the combined lens tells you how your specific internal abilities, your SWOT, can uniquely capitalize on that trend, or maybe cushion the blow. Without SWOT, PESTEL is just information, just news. With SWOT, it becomes actionable intelligence. It highlights those opportunities that, as the article says, might be overlooked if you just looked at one or the other.
Okay, so let's pivot to the tangible benefits. For you, the listener, for any business, any project really, regardless of size, the source lays out several key advantages of actually doing this combined analysis.
Yeah, the benefits are really quite significant. They go beyond just, understanding things. This combined approach helps you proactively spot potential risks and then take steps to minimize their impact. That's huge. It uncovers genuinely unique opportunities, the kind you just wouldn't see with only one lens. It lets you assess both big strategic moves and smaller projects, finding factors that could mess with performance. Basically, you get this comprehensive evaluation, making sure nothing critical gets missed, fewer nasty surprises down the line. And importantly, it encourages strategic thinking, like really thinking strategically through all stages, planning, implementation, and even helps evaluate potential outcomes before you commit, which cuts down on risky trial and error.
So it's pretty clear. This integrated approach really empowers companies, helps them shape truly innovative strategies, whether that's about improving performance overall or expanding or like our eco-innovate, launching something new. It definitely sharpens a manager's ability to see where they stand competitively and to better grasp those big economic forces shaping everything. So to wrap it all up, SWOT and PESTEL, primarily used to check out a company's internal strengths, weaknesses, and those external opportunities and threats. That's the baseline. But the real spark, the competitive edge, that comes from combining them. That's how a company significantly levels up its business plans and navigates the future with, frankly, much more clarity.
And what's really fascinating here, I think, is that strategic success, it's not just about the information you have, it's how you connect it. This deep dive really shows how looking inward with SWOT and outward with PESTEL, but doing it simultaneously, that can turn uncertainty into actual opportunity. Which leads to a pretty important question for you listening right now. How might identifying a major external shift, maybe it's a new technology, maybe a societal trend, maybe a regulation, how might that force you to completely rethink one of your own internal strengths, or maybe even a weakness?
Definitely food for thought. Keep asking those kinds of questions, keep connecting the dots, and keep diving deep into the world around you.